guys have any questions before we move on? Anything you want to chat about?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Golden Bronze and Mickey G. We're coming to you from Kicking It with Golden Swan Cadre. Hey, Mickey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
We have an awesome guest. We have an awesome guest today. Her name is Kassha Brown. I am going to bring Kassha into the room, and we'll get right on with this. We welcome you all to our platform today, and we're glad that you found the time to come in. This is Kassha. Hey, Kassha, how are you today?
Hi, ladies. I am amazing. How about yourselves?
Doing fantastic.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're glad that you came here today. We're glad that you found a few minutes to come in and speak to us because we know you're very busy and there's a lot of other things that you could have been doing. So we appreciate you taking the time out to come chat with us a little bit today to kick it with Golden Swan Cadre.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I met Kassha a few months ago in 2023 at a seminar given by Karen Michelle. It was called Meeting of the Minds. And I was so impressed with Kassha that I reached out to her to help me in the beginning stages of Golden Swan Cadre. So she helped me formulate a business plan and a format to get this baby going, and we're up and going and running down that track smoothly. Kassha is the CEO and senior publicity strategist behind the Brown Girl Inc. brand. Kassha merges her consistent, influential presence with compelling business strategies that inks the deals that determines all that is made of. Her foundation is rooted in her fierce faith and incredible penchant for identifying, creating, and taking advantage of opportunities across multiple industries. Deciding to shift from a career, in social services to the life in California, she fearlessly stepped out in faith and created a name for herself in Hollywood, and she did that in record time. Kassha was first known as the creator of The Mix with Kassha Brown, the renowned media platform that boosts interviews from Tiana Taylor to Tabitha Brown to Lunel, Al B. Shore, Lil G from Silk, and Leslie Cigar Big Les, as well known as several other emerging artists. She's also conducted cutted interviews for celebrities at the BET Awards, the Bobby Brown story movie premiere, the Oscars, the Soul Train Awards, and Rihanna's Fenty fashion show. Kassha's degree is in psychology with an emphasis on mental health. She provides PR agency, Brown Girl Inc. agency, with the drive and the innovation needed to thrive in an ever-evolving industry.
So the imprint for your success. The Brown Girl Inc. agency is the premier public relations agency behind the launch of leading brands in the entertainment industry, food and beverage sector, and fashion industry. I love. The development of aspiring entrepreneurs and creative communication strategies that expand the capabilities of influential celebrities has allowed Brown Girl Inc. agency to flawlessly rise to the top. Unforgettable campaigns that merge our expertise with opportunity are at the core of our success. We unapologetically open doors for our clients that shift culture as they are connected to new markets. The Brown Girl Inc. agency is inking their clients' success stories with clear strategies designed to enlighten and elevate. We empower our clients to succeed with branding strategies that help them navigate crisis management, learn exceptional public speaking techniques, and handle media engagements with ease.
Wow. I mean, that look, I'm like, is that me?
Kassha.
Welcome, Kassha.
Thank you, ladies. It's really difficult hearing about yourself. Sometimes you're like, wow, that's me, and it kind of makes you kind of like, oh my goodness, because I don't like to just toot, but yeah, Brown Girl Inc. Agency, and I'm the founder. Hello, ladies.
Hello. You did that.
Hey, and if you don't toot for yourself, honey, nobody else will toot for you. So toot, Kassha. Listen,
Correct.
one of the one of the things I learned about you when consulting with you is that you were involved in domestic violence, which is one of, actually, you're not a victim, I don't think, but if you are, you can let us know. But I know it's one of the things that you are heavily active in. So could you just give us a little backstory on how you got involved with domestic violence and what you've done and any future plans that you might have with that initiative?
Yes, ma'am. So I think maybe like many, my initial thought process when I thought about domestic violence was that it always had to be a physical act, right? Someone had to physically assault you for you to be considered a victim of. And then as I began to mature more so, I began to realize like, no, there's verbal, emotional abuse that can take place as well. So I would say that I did have one relationship that I experienced more of a verbal, emotional abuse. But because I look at so many people who were, physically hurt, I don't compare it to that, if that makes sense. It wasn't until I was in Dallas and I had a sorority sister who was killed by her husband. She was seeking out police protection, and in some type of way, she didn't get it. Either she didn't have enough not information, but proof, I guess, to be able to get this type of restraint against him because it was her husband, and he was able to come back into the residence and kill her. It was a really big event that was publicized. It's a lot. I could go more so into detail because it was also a person who was on TV who did the crime. But nonetheless, that as well as I have a friend who her husband, he plays professional football, and his sister was killed by her mate at the time. So it was just so much violence going on, and I just kept thinking like, wow, like what can I do, me as this one person, and not being able to save the world, but what can I do a person at a time to help bring awareness? So then I decided to become a visual advocate for domestic violence, and I myself and a photographer got together. I brought him an idea, and I said, listen, I want to create a visual platform for people who have been abused, to one, bring awareness to people of the signs to look for, two, let people know there's safe spaces out there, and three, just some kind of way do my part in showing people that this has to stop. And we created Please Stop Domestic Violence, a pictorial campaign. And I did share some pictures with Golden and let her know like this is a different ways people expressed their advocacy or their awareness or their victim conquering, being a victim, sorry, overachieving and conquering, being the victim title to being a overcomer, how they created that picture. My words are getting tongue tied up. How they created that visual homage. You know what I mean? So it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's a short synopsis.
Okay. Are you doing anything? Are you involved now with anybody or anything regarding domestic violence?
So what I do, of course, now I no longer live in Texas. I'm now in Los Angeles. I look for different people to partner with. They may have fashion shows or events. Some people have an event and then the proceeds go to domestic violence, or some people may have questions about certain things that I may have went through that I want to share with them. I give a lot of advice and therapeutic counsel. I'm not a licensed counselor, but I am credentialed to do assessments. So I try to be careful of what I do give to people who are actually dealing with those types of situations. But I do partner with, different entities who are needing to raise money, who have women who are needing shelter and refuge in those spaces. And I'm getting ready to relaunch a part 2 of the Please Stop Domestic Violence pictorial campaign, because I've been getting reached out to by several people in other states who want to be a part of it. These pictures have been traveling for quite some time. I didn't even realize that, but yeah, other women want to join in, and men, to be a part of it. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about it right now? About the
Of course.
campaign and
No, of
how
course.
it
So
work.
that's pretty much what it is. So it does have a small fee because I'm actually paying for a photographer. This year I'm trying to go for getting sponsorships to offset some of that. But people come in, and however they were affected via domestic violence, I provide this really nice, beautiful silk purple material ribbon that they utilize to um, express their awareness or advocacy for domestic violence. Some people did, they wrapped it in was prayer hands. Some people wrapped it around their head. One person had it just draped over their shoulder, just different ways that you feel like. I tell people this, I don't want them to do so much thought about it. How do you feel like you want to represent standing strong against domestic violence? And then that particular point, they do different. I've had people crying in their photo shoot, the tears being reflected with the, running, dripping on the material, just everything that was beautiful. And so basically what it does is then we then also begin to circulate them around social media to let people see, like, we're not going to put up with domestic violence, and then also encourage other people to say, listen, I want to do that too. I want to take a stance against domestic violence in whichever way I can. And if it's a picture to show like I'm not having it, then that's what we're going to start with. So yeah, because that's the quickest way to circulate things, through picture. You know what I mean? Visibility.
Yeah, you can reach out to us when you start that campaign. That might be something that we're interested in. I'm running a banner with your information. I don't know if you can see that or not on your screen, with your contact information for people that might be interested in getting in that campaign with you. Because
Okay,
anything
thank you.
anti-domestic violence, we're here to promote that. So we might be interested as well. Anybody interested in getting in that campaign? We are running her information across the banner at the bottom. Please write it down and reach out to Kassha Brown. Well, this could be larger than life if we all just jump on board. She just said herself that you never know how far a picture goes. So let's all support this campaign for advocacy against domestic violence. So now that I've gotten that talked about that, I want you to tell us about Kassha Brown, how you came about making the decision to give up your life in Dallas, Texas. You're a native Texan, are you?
I'm a military brat, so I think I'm native of quite a few places. So, but I have
Okay.
lived in Dallas the majority of my adult years. But I'm actually born in California.
Okay. So tell us how you came about taking that leap of faith, jumping into your dream career, leaving social work in a 9 to 5 and jumping off that cliff into entrepreneurship, what your agency does, what you have been doing, and what you plan to do. And we'll sit back and listen. And if you have any questions, we'll ask, expound on the conversation. But right now, we want to know about Kassha Brown, what Kassha Brown has to offer the world.
Okay, thank you. I first want to say I want to send kudos and hats off to you ladies at the Golden Swan Cadre, because I love what you all are doing. You're helping save so many lives, and the ones who have become victorious because of your guidance ship. I just thank God for them being able to come to have a safe space to see beautiful examples like you all. So thank you ladies for what you're doing, being an example, and you're looking fabulous while doing it. So thank you. Kudos to you. Definitely wanted to say that because I'm like, y'all are amazing. So I wanted to make sure I include that and not forget. Taking a leap, I would just think just that it was a leap of faith. I was in Dallas. I was working in corporate America, like so many of us do, initially out of college. But I also dabbled in the arts a little bit. I did plus size modeling, and I also was acting doing stage plays. So through some careful conversation and a really stern push from God, it was time for me to leave, and I really didn't want to. So I don't know if some of you all ever kind of took a leap and you really didn't want to, so you was kind of like pushed. That's kind of what it was. Like God was like, it's now or never. Like, this is your time. So I decided to come to LA with my 2-door vehicle, and on faith. I didn't have a job set up. I didn't have housing set up. I didn't have a plan in place, and it doesn't work like that for everybody. But because I know that I have God's favor, I'm definitely a Christian. I have God's favor. He orders my steps literally. I'm not even just saying that. And as soon as I came, everything just fell into place, from where I was staying to how long I was going to be here. I told God 3 months here, then I'm going to move here. 3 months here, I'm going to be there. And even with just, I know you mentioned earlier a little bit about me doing interviews of different celebrities and talent. I came from Dallas. I had a cell phone. I didn't even have the proper equipment. So just imagine someone saying, yeah, you can come and be on the red carpet and interview, Bobby Brown and New Edition for the launch of his premiere. I was like, okay. That wasn't nobody but God, because who wants to stop to somebody with a cell phone, ask you questions, right?
Right.
So it just kind of went from there to these other amazing opportunities and doors opened. And I've loved the journey. I've had an opportunity to style a few celebrities. I've had an opportunity to be in the room with many celebrities. I think we're all celebrities, but the world lists them as celebrities, so I have to give them their title. I've learned a lot. I've been welcomed by a lot. And I ended up now formulating my own boutique agency. Boutique meaning it's a more custom, smaller agency that can actually work well with one-on-ones with people as opposed to a big corporation. And you'd be surprised how many people I've actually crossed paths with, who we've worked with and worked on carpets with and interviewed and helped build and grow their businesses. It's been a blessing. Now it has its challenges, right? Like anything great will have, but ultimately, I wouldn't change it for the world.
And so this is in your publicist space that you've run across these people and been able
It
to
is.
them and made it a smaller, more intimate agency, right?
Right, because I started in a bigger space, right? When you're exposed to a lot of different talent, and then I did some internships with some people who like Offset, his publicist, Cardi B's publicist, and a few other people that represent bigger A-list talent. So at that point, I was like, I could do this like on my own. Like I don't, because when you're an intern, you don't you don't get paid. Right. So I'm like, okay, so let me take my internship skill set and what God gave me in my education, and then find my own way. And finding my own way means, as you all mentioned earlier, basically infusing my psychology background with my entertainment space skill set, infusing them together. And they work well together because psychology, it helps you deal with the mental understanding or capacity understanding of people and how they move, what they do. And that works because guess what? Mental health is a big challenge in the entertainment space. So recognizing, depression and anxiety and bipolarism and those things, it helps me communicate with the talent better. And, that I love. It's an advantage.
Kassha, one of our initiatives is mental health, women's mental health. There's a lot of different things that can cause that. And so we may have you come back at some point and talk about that, because our initiatives are, we advocate against domestic violence, but we also advocate for women's health issues, all of it, including mental health and self-care, because that's very important for your mental health and wellness, physical wellness as well. And, keeping ourselves up, and then mindfulness. So I did read in your bio about the psychology, and of course, opportunities came to my head then on how we can utilize some of your knowledge and work towards getting you in front of an audience here to speak about some of that. Actually, we're working on something like that for later on in the year, and I won't go into that right now. Okay. But what I wanted to know is, I know that you helped me personally with how to get jump-started Golden Swan Cadre, because I got to a certain point where I was just stumped. I was like, where do I go from here? And I don't think we had even really started it, or maybe I had just started it. If you recall, I think we hadn't really done much. We were just talking about it. So that's really not the entertainment space, but I just knew you had that publicist knowledge. Are there other career paths or industries that you assist people with other than the entertainment sector?
Wow, it's funny you say that. Well, right now also I'm doing a lot of personal development, because what I find through consultation is that some people just need some coaching. They need business brand development. Like, back, not to speak on my age, but back some years ago, you would have something called artist development or talent development. And I utilize that same concept when it comes to a person and a brand. I have several ladies now that are authors. They're writing books, and they're like, hey, I'm not comfortable with being in front of the cameras, or I'm not comfortable with speaking just yet. I can write, but speaking, that gives me, anxiety. So we've sat down and created a plan to where I coach them weekly on different techniques on how to be comfortable in front of an audience, how to formulate their speeches, how to answer interview questions. For example, I had some here. That's why I keep looking down. And it's some cards that I utilize from a company called Do Tell. And one of the questions that I ask sometimes is, what does mental wellness mean to you? Because we hear mental health, but what does mental wellness mean to you? What does that actually mean to you? Or what does success look like to you? Right? So it's basically giving probing questions to people to help them understand more clearly what their purpose is, how to creatively present it to their target audience, and make it to where it's relatable so they can personalize it toward their own individual personality. Hopefully that didn't say that too wordy, but that's pretty much what I do. Help people realize their purpose and who they are and in their brands.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I can do a text and it ends up being 10 pages. I love to write. I can send an email and somebody will say, I have to do that later because it's so long. It's not wordy, it's just a lot of information. Ask me to get in front of an audience, the blood drains right out of my body. So I could use that personal coaching. It's just the opposite for my co-host. She's perfectly comfortable in front of an audience, but maybe not so much as the writing part like I do. So I don't know about that really, but I know she's very comfortable. You're not, yeah. So that's how we complement each other, right? So I am fine being the behind the scenes person, but she's very comfortable with being in the front. But I can use that personal development. I may reach out to you for that because I'm putting myself in an area where I'm being asked to talk more. And I'm just like, oh my God, do I really have to? But, let me write it.
Were you going to say something, Miss Nikki, before I respond to that?
No, I was just going to say we both might be clients.
So, yeah, I was going to just say something to you because what happens is, listening to what you just said, so Miss Nikki, just a real quick observation, you can talk in front of people, right? So I tell people who do have that advantage, I say, well, act as if you're talking to someone and type down your thoughts or do a voice note, right? So you do a voice note because you're able to speak and then go back and type your voice note.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you sometimes are stumped when it comes to sitting down in front of the computer and typing out what it is, then speak it out. Speak out what it is that you're wanting to say. Then you can go back and you can dictate it and, pin it down how you want to say it. Now you can correct it. Same thing with you, Miss Golden. You can do it in front of the mirror. As people always say, oh, practice in front of the mirror. But with me, I do it so hands-on with people that they become so comfortable with answering questions, removing the ums and the ahs and the pauses. I teach effective ways of how to take a beat, which is a moment or a pause before you answer a question. Listen to the question before you answer, because sometimes we be trying to, double dutch. You try to get in on a double dutch and you want to answer really, really quick. You're not listening to what they're saying. And it's just taking those moments to appreciate the conversation before you respond. But I would love for you all to be my clients. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. We will.
Talk about it. But I'm also comfortable writing. I have many ideas for books, but they're not cohesive. So that might be a good thing we could talk about, because I imagine there's a lot of people who want to write books and have many books in their head and many books in their heart and a lot of ideas. And they say, I'm going to write a book one day. But I imagine you help them narrow that down and focus and give them a strategy. Is that kind of how you do it?
Yeah, because it's individualized for each person, and you just hit it right on the head. People learn and receive and put out information differently because we're created differently, right? That's what's unique about us all. But just what I said in reference to, verbally dictating it, people can get a ghostwriter. And I tell people all the time, if you're not comfortable with writing it out, just record yourself, your thoughts. They can be all over the place. But it's the ghostwriter's job to take your thoughts, your words, your emotions, your platform, and create it into a beautiful packaged book. You're just getting out what you wanted to say. And sometimes we don't do it because, I don't know what to type. Okay, well then say it. What happened to you, what instance, where you were when it happened, how you felt when it happened, how old you were, who was involved. All those things. So just say them, record that and then share it with someone who can put those things all together and make it a book.
Beautiful.
That's very good, because I was writing a book and I'm wordy, like I just said, and I'm sure a lot of things that I write can be narrowed down. I did have somebody reach out to be a ghostwriter, and I really wasn't sure what that. I was thinking that was just an opportunity for somebody to make some money. But now that you have clarified it, I could just actually talk it out, and they would take that and write the book. Is that what you're saying?
That's absolutely
So
what
that's
I'm
something
saying.
for me to
So
do.
it's a lot of people, like when you think of talent or select, I'm not going to say Bishop T.D. Jakes, but I'm going to use him as an example. You know, he comes out with many different books, right? So you're like, man, he wrote all these books, you know. So he could actually have a person who's a ghostwriter, meaning that they may be an award-winning novelist who writes books for different talent. And they're a ghostwriter, meaning that you don't know who they are. You don't know
Right.
that person's name or face. It just becomes that person's book, right? And they get paid to be anonymous. And actually, the young lady that was in our Meeting of the Minds seminar, I think her name was Angie, she is a ghostwriter. She's a person who writes out different, you know, books or journals for other people based on what they, you know, what they want to accomplish or achieve. So yeah. And one thing about I don't want to not say this. I have a client, no name's going to be said in case he sees this. He's not short on words. He's very long-winded. So we had to have an opposite type of conversation, because I told him that you lose your audience sometimes when you are so in detailed with your words, you know, when you're long-winded. So I had to have sessions with him about consolidating his thought processes into smaller statements and sentences to keep your audience's attention. Because, you know, that happens when you like to talk. So you have to also learn to catch the attention, keep it. It's like an elevator pitch. You have to kind of look at that sometimes when you're speaking.
Yes, that's so true.
I imagine even with books.
Nikki, did you want to ask her anything?
Yes. even with books, I've heard that a smaller book will probably go over better than something with multiple volumes. Just say what you need to say and maybe have different volumes of that one book. You know, different subjects that blend, but different books, but smaller ones. Is that kind of what you recommend? And do you have ghostwriters on your team?
Good answer. A good question, rather. I do have people who I contract out with if they, you know, if someone needs to have someone to write a book or a paper for them. A lot of people nowadays are using AI or GPT, I think it's called. They use that to write for them. I don't really know about that, because I feel like there's no way to control if someone else in a whole other country is going to have my same information or my same book, you know, because it was written by technology. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that. That's my question about that. So I do have people to refer when people look to do that. And secondly, I think it depends on the person, because I know that Devon Franklin, he has written several books, or whether it's a ghostwriter or not, I'm not sure. But I know audiobook works for people whose attention span sometimes is a little shorter, i.e. myself. Sometimes I get lost in the book and I'm like, oh, this is a lot. Let me come back and read this a little later. So I tend to learn more audibly than I do visually, if that makes sense. I'm a both audible and visual learner. So you have people who are, what's the word I'm looking for? When you have a short attention span, oh my gosh. ADHD. Right. So for those people, yes, you know, a manual or like a shortcut book for dummies is what they call it, which I hate that they call it for dummies, but I get the concept. Those shorter books work for people who have a smaller attention span. But people who love to read, they want to read a novel. So I feel like there's room for each person. It just depends on what you want to put out to the world, what resonates with you. If you want to start with start small with a manuscript or a journal. If you want to start big, do your novel.
I love a good audiobook. Oh boy.
Me too.
We listened to Audacity of Hope by President Barack Obama on a road trip, and it was amazing. I love audiobooks. Just hard to find a lot of them now. You know, the CD. You know, the
it's
technology.
A lot. There are a lot out there still. I find them on Amazon. I get sent all the time, you know, opportunities for a free Amazon book because you pay for Amazon Prime. Right. And a lot of people who are writing books nowadays, they always have an alternate for the audiobook. Think about people who can't read. That helps them. like you said, road trips. Myself, what I did, I don't know if you haven't done this or looked it up before. You know who James Earl Jones is? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna assume.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's a Bible audiobook that is led by James Earl Jones. He plays God's voice, or he does God's voice. I think it's like Mary J. Blige and someone else. When I tell you that's the most entertaining Bible listen, could you imagine some of your favorite artists voicing over the books of the Bible?
Mm,
It was amazing.
yes.
But some people are not going to read the Bible. So what if you can get it in the audiobook and James Earl Jones reads the red writing of God's voice. You know what I mean? So keeps your attention.
Yeah, I did see that on. I just saw it on Amazon about a week ago. So yeah,
Really? Oh
I
wow.
saw it come up on Amazon, but I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about what it was. Now that you told me, like,
And there's different versions. There's
oh,
different celebrities or different people of influence have come out and did their own voiceovers, what it is, of the Bible. And you can choose, you can hear a sample of what it sounds like, of course, before you purchase. And then you can choose, think about giving that a gift to an elderly person and you can choose King James Version, NIV. Who wouldn't want that, right? So that's just some things that you can think about when creating your own books and your own seminar classes, because you can, even with domestic violence, just think about how many awareness videos that can be created that can be sent out to churches and different facilities that house people who deal with domestic violence. You can actually do that as well. I'm gonna say we because I'm like common folk. We think, girl, you better leave. Because I had a discussion last night with a friend about a relationship she was in, and it troubled me, ladies, because she's been out of this relationship for 2 years, and he was very, she was scared of him. He stalked her. He showed up at her place of work where she's an actress, and she was talking about how frightened she was. But in the same voice, she was like, "Look who just inboxed me on social media," and I was like, is that the guy that you was just telling me about that? She's like, yeah. I said, you need to block him. No, we're friends now. And that bothers me that so many people are so comfortable with going back to garbage. Like you throw away trash to be discarded of, right? But then you go back and you make it, an excuse of, well, we're friends now. Since we're not dating, it's okay. So we need to have people like yourselves who can put some things in place where people know these are the steps to help you, leave the situation and be done with it, not just leave, because you can't leave without a plan, right?
right.
So we need you ladies also to try to put together some audio, some visuals for people who need to see the proper ways to leave and stay gone.
Mm. Yes, sometimes it's the devil that you know.
Well, we'll absolutely do that because
Quit.
we'll absolutely do that because some of the things that we do is mentor women that have already left the home. They've gone to a domestic violence center and now they're preparing to leave the center. So we kind of do motivation and
Oh, that's good.
encouragement. But what you just recommended is absolutely essential. And we'll probably do that as well. Put together some videos for those that need to have a plan. First, to recognize it, to acknowledge it, to plan to exit it, and then the exodus. So I think that we'll work on that. And thank you for that recommendation. I think that is
Yeah.
something that would be very good for us to do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kassha,
Me too.
I want you to spend the last few minutes talking, promoting your business. I want to give you that opportunity to tell people what you're doing, what you're looking for, what you want business wise, your opportunities for yourself. Take the next few minutes to talk about Kassha and what she wants to do and what people can do if they need to get in touch with you. We're going to wrap it up after that. So the last few minutes are yours. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Myself, I want to first state the reason why Brown Girl Inc. is the name is because my last name is Brown. It's not because I just only service brown people. So sometimes people get that misunderstood because we have Black owned businesses. I want to say that first. Secondly, my goal is to help people pull out that inner success story that's going to help them be of a great service to the world. Yourself first and then to the world. Sometimes we die with our purpose inside of us and we don't know how to get it out. So I thank God that I'm able to have the ability to creatively pull that out of people. So I want to help people recognize who they are on the inside, their purpose to the world, and how to strategize making that thing turn into something tangible and make it successful for you. So deciding what success looks like to you. I'm available for consultations. I always do the discovery call consultations first with people before we get into that perspective. So I put my email also in the chat. I think I put it in the comments. I'm not sure if I put it in the comments or the chat, but I put my email in the chat to share with people for them to be able to send me an email inquiry. I'm open to do that. So I just don't do PR. I also do assessments, mental health assessments in regards to your state of being, as well as strategy coaching for people who are trying to establish their inner success story and bring it to fruition. And you can follow me on social media. I guess you should say my following is on Instagram, and it's I am KASSHA Brown, and that's it. I am Kassha Brown, like the color brown.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kassha Brown. She does from event management to branding and product development. The Brown Girl Inc. agency has created a stellar reputation with sought-after platforms like BET and MTV, as well as the corporate and event space. She is the entertainment industry guru, okay? And I did not get a chance to ask all the questions that I had for her, but I would like to say to you, Kassha, that big things are coming, and we may have an opportunity to get you exposure. And I'm trying to be kind of just speaking is what I'm talking
I
about.
understand.
191. So maybe we can have you back at another time with a broader audience, more than just the United States of America, and
Okay.
have you come back a second time. So other questions. I wanted to ask more questions about. I only have 38 seconds left. I wanted to 68 seconds. Ask more questions about BET and MTV and stuff like that. Yeah, show that. That's part of her digital stuff. Yes, we're gonna talk
This is a gift.
about
This
that
is a
too.
gift. This is a gift I'm gifting to the Golden Swan Cadre. It was painted by an artist, and I wanted you to see it. And I'm going to gift it to you all. This canvas when I see you again. And maybe I can mail it, but I can gift it when I bring it, or I can mail it. But it's as you see, a black queen with her purple
Okay.
fro, and the domestic violence ribbon display at the bottom.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and Ken
Oh,
Folks,
thank you
he's an
so
artist in
much.
Dallas and created it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to show you that. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show you that
All
before
right.
we got off of air.
Thank
I
you for that.
appreciate it. I wanted to say to you, I'll message you more details about what I was kind of skating around
Yes, ma'am.
later on after we get off. But I want to thank you for taking the time out to chat with Nikki G and I on Kicking It with Golden Swan Cadre. We do appreciate your taking the time out early in California. You're 2 hours behind us to be with us today. We know that there's many other things that you could be doing, but you chose to go ahead and spend some time with us, and we appreciate it. Give you much love for that, for doing it, and we'll be talking to you soon. All right. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Y'all be
You're
blessed.
welcome.
Same.
All right. You too, dear. Thank you. Hang on.